Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to the channel. It's Cynicalex, and today we're going to talk all about the Spider-Man No Way Home update. I'm going to give you my first impressions and thoughts on everything, and I'm going to try and keep the hype levels at a reasonable amount because it is 6 o'clock in the morning. I don't want to wake people up too early, and also because I'm going to be saving my hype for the videos to come where I'll be breaking down Spider-Man, Kingpin, and Black Cat specifically and individually. The one other thing I will say that's very important for you to note at the beginning of the video, the tier 3 skill, the brand new tier 3 skill for Spider-Man with his black uniform or his red integrated suit, either one, it's a brand new tier 3 skill, so he got a brand new rework on that. It's got new effects, new damage, whatever, new animation. The animation specifically does reveal some information from the movie No Way Home, so it is technically a spoiler. Now, based on how much social media you've been consuming, you may have already seen this particular spoiler. It's actually already been added to the Marvel website, marvel.com website. However, I do want to warn you before I show you. I am about to show you in a minute here, in about 5 seconds, but before I show you, I just want to warn you in case you don't want to see that. If you don't want to see that, then skip ahead about a minute in the video. But man, if there's one character, let me put it this way: if there's one character in Marvel Future Fight that can compete in my eyes to how gorgeous and how amazing and how accurate WandaVision skills are, it's Black and Gold Spider-Man specifically. So here we go. I'm gonna show you the new tier 3 skill. It's absolutely insane. I'm gonna turn the SFX on. I gotta start the video with this because I cannot believe the devs did this. But yeah, skip ahead about a minute if you don't want the spoilers. Here we go. Look at that. Look at that, ladies and gentlemen. This is so amazing. 2 other Spider-Men come out of the portals, proceed to web up your enemies, and then of course, our Spider-Man, right, stands back dancing like Tobey Maguire, like Bully Maguire in Spider-Man 3. That cringy scene where he walks out of the, I don't know, the barber shop or something. He walks out of some shop and he starts dancing in public. There's so many things going on in this tier 3 skill. You got the reference to Tobey and Andrew. And then you have the direct reference to Tobey again. Oh my, like, this skill is gorgeous. It's beyond gorgeous. But let's continue to appreciate how insanely cool Spider-Man looks and sounds. You've got the police sirens and the ambulances when he spins this car. And then look at this. We see Doctor Strange come out of a portal. You can actually see into the portal. There's actually a landscape back there. And if you've seen the movie, you know where that is. So I'm shocked at how good this is. I'm so shocked at how good this is. It's crazy. Now, the other thing I'm going to talk about Spider-Man briefly here, I'm going to talk about 2 things because I think it's really important to address right at the top. One, his 0.4% accumulation, his 0.4% accumulation is if you just tap the skill and then cancel it. If you tap the skill and don't do anything, it will play out the entire animation. As you can see here, it will play out the entire animation. Now, if you let the entire animation play out, or if you cancel pretty late in the animation before he's about to kick, then you can get a much higher accumulation. You actually are going to get a 1.2% accumulation. So it's sort of like Thor's accumulation, where the more you spin the hammer, the more accumulation you get. But if you just press it and cancel it, you get 0.4% accumulation. And you can test this yourself. If you press it and wait a little bit, you wait a little bit and then you cancel, you get 0.8%. 0.8% is really good. It's double, right? But then if you can wait right until the end when he's just about to kick and then cancel it, it's going to take some practice. But that is going to give you the maximum accumulation, which is actually 1.2%, which is, it gives him like 50% more damage. It's a really big boost. So I encourage you, if you're going to play with this Spider-Man black and gold suit, that you master this rotation, because I do think this is the most accurate and best rotation. You do 3 And then just before he goes, you cancel 4, and you cancel 4 immediately into 5. And this should proc. You proc on 5. 5 is his most damaging skill, and it's super strong. If you want to incorporate the 6th skill, what I would do is 3, and then 6, 4, 5. Because 6, you can cancel it right away, and you're still going to get Toby and Andrew sliding in. So I just wanted to cover that for you guys because it's not in the patch notes. It's not anywhere on the, skill itself. It just says 0.4, but actually it's longer if you hold it. And the great thing is you can still start with the 3rd skill, even though the accumulation is going to start ahead because it's an 8-second accumulation. So even if you waste the first 3 seconds, you're not going to waste the first 3 seconds. But even if you did, that's fine because your next 5 seconds are your proc, because the proc only lasts 5 seconds, and that'll be the full proc anyways. Another thing that's just so gorgeous about this uniforms, man, his effect here, when he's his idle effect. If you listen, you hear police sirens, he gets the spider sense, and then he does some webbing. It's absolutely gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous. So yeah, I'm really happy with this uniform for Spider-Man. My first impressions are that he's absolutely meta. I don't know if you can tell in the rest of my reaction and how detailed I was with his rotation, but I absolutely think he's meta. Let me throw out some numbers for you guys in terms of testing that I did. So before I even gave him an obelisk, he was able to complete stage 99 of Proxima for me in 30 seconds with this black and gold uniform. He was able to do stage 9 of Null in 60 seconds, and I've always said for a character to not have an obelisk, so just raw damage, anything around a minute, 55 seconds, a minute and 5 seconds is very, very meta. He was also able to complete stage 9 of Mephisto for me with no obelisk and no Odin's blessings at the time. He has 1 now, but he had none then, in under 2 minutes. However, when I went ahead and gave him the 160 proc obelisk, he absolutely exploded. Like, his damage just went absolutely berserk. He was able to do Mephisto, way faster, 30 seconds faster than he was able to do it. And then when I actually gave him a team on top of that, I was just giving it random, assortment of characters like I do with, no lead, no support. But when I then gave him a team, he was actually able to clear his best team. And I'll show you guys a screenshot here. He was actually able to clear stage 35 of Mephisto with this team with a 160 proc obelisk. If that is not high meta, I don't know what is. In my mind, he's competing with Makari, or he's very close to be competing with Makari. We'll have to wait and see. I'll have to test him with an energy, but he seems very, very good with this black and gold uniform for PvE with an obelisk. He seems very proc friendly. I'm very, very happy with this rework personally. But notice how I've said with the black and gold uniform. The reason why I've said that is because although it's just one skill change, the one skill change is huge for PvE versus PvP. In PvE, he gets the 30% attack buff for 6 seconds, and he gets a whole bunch of hits that are, lined up well with his proc. With this uniform, although it does have a lot of hits on the 4th skill, the hits are very delayed. So I'm going to show you here how it looks. There's this, the delay is just too long. I know there's a lot of hits here, but the delay is just far too long. It'll never line up with your proc. It literally takes 5 seconds for the skill to end up doing its damage. So when would you do it? I guess you would do 4 at the beginning, and then into 3, and then into 5. That's probably your best bet. But to be honest with you, my results, my testing, it became very clear to me early on that this uniform is not built for PvE. And it makes sense because the 4th skill trades off the 30% attack buff, right? You lose the 30% attack buff, which is pretty big, and you gain 5 seconds of ignore targeting. 5 seconds of ignore targeting is really good for PvP. So, in PvP, you spam 4 and you win. In PvE, you cancel 4 into 5 and you win. Either way, he does an amazing job. But yeah, I think some players are going to be either frustrated or they're going to try and make one uniform work for both. I don't really think that's going to work. I don't think the red uniform is going to work for PvE. I really don't think so. And you're going to be disappointed ultimately. And I don't think the black uniform is going to work for PvP. I mean, maybe some people can make it work, maybe. But, we want things to fit and for it to make sense. So I think these uniforms are, it's simple. because it's the same as last time, except now it actually works. The black uniform is for PvE, the red uniform is for PvP, but I'm talking about the new uniforms there. So yeah, that's what I have to say about Spider-Man. As far as the optionals here, we've got Rogue Excalibur, we've got Black Panther 3099, we've got Dormammu, Damnation, Kamala Khan, Ms. Marvel, and Blue Marvel Classic. Not the best options for Spider-Man, but it is what it is. Moving on to Black Cat and Kingpin. Both of these characters are going to seem worse by comparison, or they're going to just seem more lackluster because they're having to stand next to Spider-Man. And Spider-Man, in my opinion, is going to be so meta and is going to really disrupt the game that Black Cat and Kingpin are just going to be forgotten about in time. That being said, I do think Kingpin is pretty good. I think he could have been better. You know, the way his skills work, it's basically just 4 cancel 5 and then that's it. The one thing I would say is that his 5th skill has poor targeting at the end. So I would encourage the devs, when he throws the car, he throws it very far away, and there's like a knockback effect that you can see that happens with the robots, right? You can see here this robot is right next to me, but then he gets knocked back and he gets blown up, right? He gets knocked back into the car that then explodes. That's fine. That works really well against the faceless, nameless, soulless robots. But it certainly does not work against bosses who do not get affected by knockback. Like, there's no such thing as knockback against world bosses. So what ends up happening is Kingpin ends up throwing the car way far, like off screen basically, and it does nothing to Proxima. So we're going to show you here that the damage on the proc is pretty good, but look at this. Proxima's in front of me still, and the explosion is behind her, dealing 0 damage. So you lose a whole bunch of damage. So I really encourage the devs to fix this and make the car explode in front of you. Like, the explosion needs to be moved like 6 meters in game towards Kingpin. Like, Kingpin should be standing on the edge of that explosion where it's red and like it's like a dark orange. He should be standing there, right, where he's not. Because what happens is, I'll show you. Again, he throws the car, and it's way far away, and Proxima and none of the hits register. So yeah, that's really my big complaint with Kingpin right now. But his damage is good. His damage is good, and I do think he is going to become the best combat villain for pretty much all available content, whether it's squad battle, ABX, etc. I think the days of Apocalypse and Carnage are over, and we are looking at our new best combat villain. So you definitely need to tier 3 him. Let me just put that out there. He's not going to be good at tier 2. I was very, not disappointed, but it was just very lackluster at tier 2. But at tier 3, he gets a big stat bump, and his tier 3 skill does a lot of damage. And the very nice thing about Kingpin's tier 3 skill is you can cancel it pretty much right away. So we get 2 out of 3 characters with amazingly simple, amazingly proc-friendly rotation. Spider-Man's rotation is so proc-friendly once you learn the rhythm on when to cancel the 3, and Kingpin's rotation could not be easier and could not be more proc-friendly. It's literally just 4 cancel 5. It's super duper easy. The goons come in and bazooka and Tommy gun right away, and you get that damage. It's very, very simple. And then right after the 5 explodes, you can just splash in the 1, 2, and 3 to build up the tier 3. And then when you have the tier 3 ready, it's a very simple 6-4-5 combo. And as you can see, the hand ninjas will continue to slash even if you instant cancel 6. The only damage from 6 that you miss by canceling it is the damage at the end. But the damage at the end where he body slams is very minimal. So you can see here, if I don't cancel, see, if I cancel, I get all of this anyways. All of this stays if I cancel. The only thing I miss is this part right at the end. It seems like a lot of hits, it seems like a lot of damage. It's really not. I've tested it against Null. It's really not a lot of damage, and the 5 has the vast majority of his damage, so you do want to cancel into the 5. And I believe you also, oh, there's no damage proc, but yeah, you want to pass that damage proc from 4 onto 5. That's why you want to cancel 4 into 5, and it's just very, very smooth. So he's very easy to play, you know, I'd say pretty easy to build. Obviously he's a full cost uniform, which is tough, but he's a free character in the sense of like very easy bio acquisition. So it's sort of, you know, on one hand, it's a lot cheaper than Apocalypse. The crystals is actually a little bit more expensive, but in terms of building your Apocalypse to tier 3 versus building your Kingpin, there's no question Kingpin is you know, magnitudes cheaper. He's literally half the CCF costs, 800 versus 1600. There's just no question there. The only advantage to Apocalypse is that he's a Phoenix Feather character because he's a mutant rather than being a character that takes like Black Antimatter and Chaos Nordstone. So yeah, Kingpin is definitely going to be meta. However, his meta is much more niche than Spider-Man's. I don't think Kingpin is going to be a viable PvP threat, especially with how many powerful PvP characters there are, you know, Gilgamesh, Wolverine, etc. But for PvE, he's definitely taking the cake for combat villain. No question there. Not best combat type, but best combat villain. And then lastly, we come to, the uniform options for Kingpin really quickly here. Let's just go ahead. X23, Thor, Herald of Thunder. Yeah. Thing, Classic, Medusa, Inhumans, and then Mr. Fantastic. It's actually really funny that they did Thing and Mr. Fantastic. These are all very recent uniforms from this year, besides Medusa. So these are good optionals, despite not being for the most meta characters. And then last but not least, we have Black Cat. I don't really want to say too much about her because I spent the least amount of time testing her. But from my testing, she does not seem very good on her own. And the game sort of indicates that, where you see her game modes that she's suggested for are just as a leader slash support, never as a dealer. And I did test her in Dispatch, where a lot of people are saying she's needed, and I'm not sure if she's needed. She might be needed in Sector 12, but I'm pretty sure if you have if your characters are built well enough and you have good enough teams, that you can complete Sector 11 without her at all. And I found minimal difference between her and a Proxima Valkyrie combo team up with TVA Loki. It only really started to show itself, you know, her value really only started to show itself at around Dispatch level 11.5 and 12.1, and even 12.1 I couldn't auto-complete anyways. So I'm a little bit hesitant to say that she is needed for Dispatch. Again, I have more testing to do, but as a standalone character, I do not expect her to make any waves. You know, even though White Fox was only tier 2, and even though Enchantress was only tier 2 when they got their summer and holiday uniforms, they became some of the best tier 2 characters in the game for PvE content. That does not seem to be the case with Black Cat. They're really leaning into the support category with heavy emphasis on her leadership and support abilities, coupled with the fact that she has very few cancelable skills. Like, really, you can cancel 3 when she zips away, and then you can cancel 5 when she zips away, but you lose the tree and the present explosions, and then you actually can't cancel 4 at all, and 4 does the majority of her damage. So the best rotation is probably going to be letting 5 play out, and then doing like a 3 cancel 4, or doing a 3 cancel 5, letting that play out, and then as soon as she lands with the presence, you can then go into 4 to combo this explosion. But yeah, as a standalone character, she's not going to compete. She's not even top 5, top 10 for best speed tier 2s. So that's not happening. And then she can't be transcended or tier 3 yet. She obviously is going to be the best leadership for specific content, i.e., you know, speed villain ABX and speed villain squad battle. But again, she's just replacing Baron Zemo. So if you didn't get Baron Zemo's uniform, now might be a good time to look into Black Cat. Did I call her White Fox? Black Cat. But at this point, I am also a little bit hesitant to say she's worth it, because it's also a premium uniform. You got to get those 30 tokens. We are going to get 10 from a login event, but it is more expensive. And at this point, I kind of expect a little bit more. I think the devs did a really good job with Spider-Man, and then kind of forgot Kingpin and Black Cat along the way, in my opinion. But yeah, last thing I want to say about Black Cat here is that her passive, this passive right here, which increases all allies debuff effect, does not stack. So we were hoping that maybe if you use this one plus you used White Fox's leadership or another debuff leadership like Dr. Voodoo, that you could get 80% debuff increase, which would be insane. I tested it out and it does not work. So you can only use one or the other. So even comboing Black Cat with White Fox's leadership doesn't do anything. The other problem about White Fox for Dispatch and other game modes is that she's a villain. And although her buff applies to all allies, the other buff, her leadership only applies to villains. So it's a little bit awkward in that sense. Like, trying to combo those two characters won't actually work very well. She's probably best comboed with either Proxima support or Valkyrie support. So that's it for the characters. I'm super impressed with Spider-Man, pretty impressed with Kingpin, a little bit disappointed with Black Cat. And then as far as Dispatch goes, I'm still doing my thing, testing it out, but I do like the new stages. I do think they are sort of an early hint at what the new story mode is going to look like after they take out all of the environmental hazards, but I'm still digging it. And I just gotta, I gotta do this here. I gotta auto equip these characters here so we can start farming this juicy celestial essence and energy. So that should be good. Put your roster to use. Don't forget about this here. Try to get through sector 11 and 12. Play it manually if you can't play it on auto. And yeah, that's basically it for this update thus far. I may be missing something else, but I'll leave it up for the next video. I don't want to cram too much information into this one here. So hit me up in the comments down below with your thoughts on the update so far. What do you like about it? What do you not like about it? What do you hope to see next? Also, sorry, last thing I did remember, there is now autoplay for both AB and ABX. So it's not just normal Alliance Battle that has autoplay. It is also Alliance Battle Extreme that has autoplay. So I look forward to testing out and seeing the best builds for autoplay ABX to get you 5 or 7 million, which is what you want to get for those juicy scores and those juicy points, or rewards, I should say. Not juicy rewards, decent rewards. But yeah, hit me up in the comments down below. Thank you so much for watching. Smash the like button, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care.